The Boss and the Sauce Show.
Boss and the Sauce Show.
Boss and the Sauce Show.
Boss and the Sauce Show. Here we go.
What up? What up? What up? Now, I happen to have the pleasure of hanging out with my man Moose Bunny Betts today. Big Ragu, busy, wine time, working on being a new father. So us old studs is here to stay. But I worked with Moose before, me and you one-on-one last year, huh? I forgot what conference we did, Moose, but it was a good experience. We had a lot of stuff to carry into the season. How you feeling today, Moose?
I think it was the ACC. I think it may have been the ACC last year that we linked up on. But man, it's Friday. You got the weekend. I think I heard a rumor there might be some college football on tomorrow. So let's get going, man.
It's just a rumor, man. It's just a rumor. Stay asleep.
We going.
Well, let's jump right on into it, man. Of course, I'm going in the field steel order right here. Jumping right into it. Let's go Clemson. My man Dabo Swinney right here. Returning 8 on offense, 9 on defense, 18th year here. Dabo Swinney was a little surprising at the end of the season last year. Beginning of the season, he complained about the NIL deal, and he wasn't sure if it was something that he wanted to partake in. But this season, he's fired off. He's jumped in the NIL. He's got some bags of money over there, and he's got a good team returning. He has his quarterback returning, one of the few top teams that got the returning quarterbacks, because a lot of our top teams have new quarterbacks, believe it or not. But yeah, they sitting pretty over there. As I look through the scene, it's not much to talk about with LSU. I mean, you could talk about them all day. Don't get me wrong, but I just don't. I'm not sold. I'm not sold on Clemson. I got them at losing two losses for the season somewhere somehow. They have the schedule that helps them out a little way through there too. So I don't know. Dabo Swinney's a classy coach, but I mean he might be old news. We might be moving to something new, but he definitely gets those athletes over there, and he does a good job overall. But college playoffs, I'm a lean hard yes, because he's probably going to be top out the ACC championship. I'm gonna lean a hard yes again. It's not too much that I can say that to say they're not going to do it. But even with the 2 losses, they do well. They have a good season. Dabo hangs around for another year. The players do well, but even if they make it to the playoffs, not too much. Not too much. What you think, Moose?
I mean, I totally understand where you're coming from. You just look at last year. I mean, they made a Georgia team that was not the typical Georgia team look like the typical Georgia team, and then losses to Louisville. And the loss to Louisville was at home. I mean, Louisville just came in there and just kind of almost ran them out of the stadium. And then the loss to South Carolina also wasn't great. You look at the year before that, losing to Miami and losing to North Carolina State. So yeah, you've seen some chinks in the armor here with Dabo, but man, dude, this team is just loaded. They're bringing back basically all of their receivers from last year. The top 4 from last year are back. You got Cade Klubnik, who's also coming back. And it's a kind of a plethora of riches that Dabo has, because he's also bringing back the entire O-line, just minus a couple of guys. The big loss is probably going to be at linebacker. Barrett Carter did leave, and he was one of their best linebackers last year. But this is a linebacker group that has been historically linebacker U. And again, they are loaded. They are one of the top 10 linebacker groups in the country. The front 7 is going to be one of the best front 7s in the country. And the secondary loses only 1 starter. But I think the biggest key add for Clemson this year was the addition of Tom Allen as defensive coordinator. Tom Allen is one of the best defensive minds. He was taking really crappy Indiana teams and making them relevant. He is now the DC at Clemson. That is a huge get. I think that Clemson is a sneaky little national championship future, because if they get into the playoffs with Klubnik and with the defense returning, this is a dangerous team. So I like Clemson as a potential national title, but I do have a dark horse in the ACC that we'll get to eventually that might push Clemson for the ACC title.
Nice, man, nice. And they've been known for having great DCs over there too. A lot of DCs at Clemson stepped out into some good positions as they left.
Mhm.
But national title, I don't know. I say when it gets the heat of the battle, they get outbid. But Dabo Swinney is the man to take them to the promised land. Is someone that can do it. But let's keep it rolling. SMU, my man Rhett Lashley, 4th year right here. 16-3 at home, 13-6 away. He's bringing back 7 on offense, 5 on defense. He definitely falls into my 3rd and 4th year category. But I'm not too high on him. Quarterback Kevin Jennings, they saying Heisman Trophy candidate. I don't know. Last year we had a big bunch of Heisman Trophy candidates. And just like we said when we were doing the last conference, it seems like every team in each conference got like 3, 4 Heisman candidates. You can only have one. Only one's going to get it. So we don't know there, but we shall see. But Rhett actually sitting pretty right here with his team right here. Not much to say for me about them, but I like taking them as dogs. I like taking them in a lot of situations. I mean, he was 11-3 last 2 years in a row. Does he regress from 11? Was that 11-3 luck? Does he regress from the 11-3, or is he a proven coach? And SMU is a stepping stone. Maybe he's SEC, Big Ten or something next. What you think about Rhett Lashley over here with the SMU Mustang?
I mean, I love Lashley as a coach. I mean, he's a great guy on the sidelines. The players love him, and I do think that he has a legit great quarterback. I don't know about Heisman guy. I mean, Kevin Jennings is one of the best dual threat quarterbacks in the country, but there's still some question marks about his throwing. I mean, he's still going to have to prove that he can hit that out route, that he's going to be able to throw that seam route. He's going to have to improve on some of the timing that we saw. He got exploited in the playoffs. I mean, there were some issues in the playoff game that you kind of go, oof, this offense doesn't look the same against better competition. The big ad, though, TJ Harden coming over from UCLA. That's going to be big time for them because they lost Brashard Smith, and he was their workhorse. I mean, he had double the amount of carries as the next closest running back. And the next closest running back, Derek McFall, he only had 109 yards on 26 carries. So it was essentially the Smith show. And now they're kind of converting it. The sequel to the Smith show is going to be the Harden show. And sometimes the sequels aren't as good as the original. This one might be better because DJ Harden's a hell of a running back. The receiving core is going to be a little bit of a question. 2 of the top receivers did leave, but they are returning guys that are very talented. There are 3 starters back from last year, but they do lose 2 of their better linemen. The big question is going to be on defense, where they only have 5 starters returning, and they lose all the top production from last year on the D line. They lose the top 3 starting linebackers, including the top 2, and the secondary does return 2 starters, but the rest of the group does leave. So there are questions here about SMU, but they are loaded, they are talented, and they should push for an ACC title. They should push for a playoff appearance. I don't think they get there. I think with how much competition there is out there in the country, I don't see them making it, but I still would not be shocked if they were a team that potentially got into the playoffs and made a little bit of a run. I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't bet on it.
11-3 again?
I don't see 11-3. I do not see 11-3.
Slight regression.
Yeah, slight regression, but if they got to 11, it's not like I'm going to be like, what? No way. But right. I see more of a 9-win season, 10-win season.
I feel you 100%. Let's keep it moving on to a coach that I have mixed feeling for. My guy Mario Cristobal over here last year, 10-3, brings over Carson Beck after an injury. I don't like players after an injury. As a player back in the day, they'll tell you you're only as good as how you come back from that injury, because injury's gonna happen. But I'm not a Carson Beck fan over here, and I got the wrong thing over here, I think. But anyways, I don't like the injury part of it. They come out against Notre Dame, Cons versus Catholics. It's a whole new era. It's gonna look nothing like it looked back then. And I'm all over Notre Dame in this spot against this Miami team that, I don't know, I think this we've seen a lot of inconsistencies with them last year. I think they fumbled the ball a couple times in there, some way, somehow. What you think, Moose?
I see that too, man. I mean, I came up with a nickname last year, very creative. It's Carson Picks, because it seemed like every time he was in a big time moment, big time situation, big time game, he would throw an interception. It just felt like it was inevitable that it was on its way to the wrong receiver. But he is a solid quarterback. I will, as much as I will talk, crap on him and his ability to throw the ball, he can still really throw the ball. He is one of the best throwers of the ball in college football. But you look at the receiving core. I mean, the receiving core last year was nasty, led by Xavier Restrepo, and they lose the top 5 guys. So it is going to be a completely new receiving group. And for a quarterback that is supposedly, kind of a veteran guy that knows how is a leader of men, he's going to have to do the whole thing over again that he started and was seemingly finishing over at Georgia with a new group. They do add CJ Daniels, who did have 10 starts, in around 500 yards, nothing crazy. They add Malachi Toney, and they have Ray Joseph, who will likely rotate at the X spot, and they add Tulane transfer Alex Bowman. So they do have talent. They can go 4 wide. They could also run a 2 tight end set, which Bex did have success with at Georgia. But there are questions all over. I mean, the big one is going to be losing their starting center and left tackle on the O-line. James Brockmeyer has been a full-time starter at TCU and Alabama. He does come in, but you're talking about a new exchange under center. That's going to be completely different. And you're going to have a new receiving core out there. And you're also losing your top running back, Damian Martinez. So you look at the offensive side of the ball, there are some question marks. The defense should be pretty solid. They have one of the better front sevens in college football. They do lose a starting quarterback and a safety, as well as some role players, but they do return quite a bit of talent in the secondary. They do bring in Corey Heatherman, who is the new DC. He was over at Minnesota, and he's done a phenomenal job at Minnesota. He's now bringing that over to the Miami Hurricanes, which runs the positionless type of defensive scheme. So he allows his talent to be talented. But I am right there with you. And, boss, I am also on Notre Dame. I have them for the spread, and I also took a first half full game on Notre Dame because it just feels like it is a Notre Dame smash spot to announce themselves as a clear-cut national title contender, because Miami, I do not see them making the playoffs. I do not really see them. I see them pushing for an AC title, but I do not see them in the playoffs this year. I don't see them having anything more than potentially an 8 or 9 win season.
Ooh, you said it better than me, man. I'm still in all of that. There we go. Let's go Notre Dame. Next up, Georgia Tech, Yellow Jackets. My man Brent Key, man. Brent Key, 7-6 last year, returning 7 on offense, 7 on defense. He's sitting pretty right here. But the highlight to me is Haynes King. He's a real playmaker. He's back. He's going to be a little more improved this year. And also, they got a little trouble on the defensive side of things. They do got to step it up on the defensive side. But, good thing about teams like this one, when they went into the offseason, they knew exactly what they needed to work on. So we can't just expect that they don't know that they pass rush is, not top tier, that they need to get more defensive takeaways. They don't know stuff like that. But they also do keep offensive coordinator Buster Faulkner and most of his staff as well. So they're doing good right here. And this is not considering that my man Brent Key has a great record, especially against the spread in big games. And he proved that with that season opener last year against Florida State. So I like the Yellow Jackets. Kind of my dark horse. I kind of went back over to Phil Steele's rankings. And, some of them, like we just talked about, Miami, I put an arrow down because I think their ranking to go down. But Georgia Tech, this is one that I put to step up a little bit. I think they surprised us this year.
100%. I am with you, although I do think they have the worst first game of the year. I mean, that is they picked the worst possible matchup they could pick in going to Colorado. But I love the return of Haynes King. I love the return of Jamal Haynes, and they bring back 3 of the top receivers from last year. And all that is a recipe for success. The question mark on the offense is that they lose 3 starters and a backup. They only return 2 of the best linemen from last year. They do bring back Keelan Rutledge, who was a first-team All-ACC player last year, and they do add some guys, but that is a bit of a question mark on the offensive side of the ball. But I expect them to figure out the rushing side. I have them figuring out their offensive line, and it should end up being a strength. The big question, though, is going to be what is the secondary going to be able to do? Because I think the front seven has improved. They have better tacklers, which was a huge need, and they went out and got guys that are legitimate tacklers. Melvin Jordan, who had 10 starts last year, Kyle Efford, they have, and they did a lot of things to shore up the tackling, but the secondary is a huge question. I do think that any team that is capable of being a good passing offense is likely going to try to rip that secondary to shreds. They'll stop the below average, the above average. But when you start talking about good to great passing offenses, that's where Georgia Tech could struggle. But boss, this is my dark horse. I alluded to it just a little bit ago. This is the team that I say can compete against Clemson if they are able to limit how much their secondary struggles and continue to thrive in the red zone, which they did last year. This could be a team that pushes Clemson and potentially could steal the ACC championship and a playoff spot. I'm not all that confident, but I do have a futures on it because I think Georgia Tech is a team that, as the season goes on, is going to get stronger and stronger. And in those big games, if they're a dog, you're going to want every bit of that yellow jacket spread.
Hey, yeah. And, if they lose in the first game versus Colorado, I think they get stronger as the season
I think
goes
it's
on.
bad. Yeah. I agree. I think that loss
might play to their advantage.
100%, because I've already heard Coach Key talk about my team does not look ready to play. My defense has got guys tapping out. My offense has got guys tapping out already, and you're going to take that team to elevation. If they get kind of exposed a little bit, and the coaching staff is able to point out how many of you guys were asking out late in the third quarter, early in the fourth, and if you see guys you raising their hand, this is like, hey. That cannot happen. This is on us as just an ability to put in work. So let's go put in work. And I see it as a potential catalyst to a major season. And I do like them for the ACC this year.
Absolutely. I love it, man. Let's keep it rolling right into my boy Mike Norvell. He may be on the hot seat, man. I mean, they kind of was peeping that they were looking for something, but instead they go after offensive coordinator Gus Malzahn. Malzahn over here. I guess it's a Florida thing, or I don't know, but I'm not totally sold on the quarterback, Tommy Castellanos, and they have a really tough schedule this year. So I think that this is a total miss on the part of my man Phil Steele with this Florida State team. They do have a good fan base, and they are going to come in, but I haven't seen nothing they were totally broken last year. And I haven't seen nothing that looks fixed. Gus Malzahn, that doesn't impress me. Tommy Castellanos, that doesn't impress me. So I don't know. Maybe you can give me the buy-in on Florida State right here. What you think, Moose?
I mean, I'm not going to give you any buy-in here, but I will refute the idea that there's a hot seat. Norvell has a $63 million buyout in his contract, which runs through 2031. So there's zero pressure for him. If they want to fire him, sweet, dude. I'll take my $63 million. I'll go buy a little island somewhere, and I will chill out. So I don't see any pressure from Norvell. But the question is going to be, is Castellanos good? I don't know. I mean, he looked good for a little bit, but then just absolutely struggled. I mean, yeah, the offense was not a good fit with Castellanos at BC, and with Bill O'Brien trying to run more of a pro style, and Castellanos is more of like kind of an improviser, likes to run the ball a little bit more. They lose their running backs. They completely revamped the receiving core. Every single lineman on the offensive line is gone. I mean, it is a completely rebuilt offense, and you're going to tell me Gus Malzahn is the guy that's going to be, changing things and turning things around. The guy that has, kind of screwed over almost every quarterback he's had that's not named Cam Newton, then compares every quarterback he's had to Cam Newton. It's just like, I'm not buying that Malzahn is the answer here. I do think the defense is going to be much better. You actually saw the defense play really well last year. It was totally overshadowed by how awful the offense was, but the defense was actually kind of a sleeper defense. So I do think they will be much better this year. They are projected to allow about 24 points per game, which is a solid number for a defense. If the offense can just move the ball and not have the opposing team start in their own territory, that's going to be a huge win for this team. And I see a lot of unders with this Florida State team. So if you want to blindly bet the unders, I'm not doing that. But if you want to blindly bet the unders, I totally would understand why. An offense that's not likely to score and a defense that could be one of the surprising under kind of appreciated defenses in the ACC.
Yeah, I get it. 100%, man. 100%. I'm with you right there. Shout out to my man AOD in the chat, man. AOD won one of our t-shirts on there. He gave us a big thank you for the last time. So yeah, we're gonna have much more giveaways on our shows, our live shows coming up in 2025. So hang in with us, hop in the chat, and get some prizes, man. Let's keep it moving. Louisville Cardinals right here. Jeff Brom up in here. Last year they were 9-4. He's returning 8 on offense, 8 on defense, which is pretty good. I'm not mad at Louisville. Louisville, if you backed Louisville last year, you might have made some money in some spots. They were a little underrated, and I still haven't totally have my eye around the potentials of Louisville. But third year coach right here, he fits my whole scenario right here. So he needs to work on the secondary a little bit. On defensive side, he did open up to the portal a little bit to get some players in there so he could try to fix some of those things. But quarterback Miller Moss, so I'm a Notre Dame fan. I can't buy into Miller Moss. I mean, and why do they think they could just take any guy from any team, move him somewhere else, and he's supposed to play greater? I mean, you got to learn a new offense. You got to learn how to eat, sleep, drink again, considering the weather, and like you said, elevation changes, all that kind of stuff. So I don't buy into Miller Moss. He's a great name from USC. He's a steal of a technically he would be a steal of a portal player, but at the same time, it's a reason why he's not at USC anymore. So I don't know. I hope he doesn't come over here to Louisville and mess up what Brown been having, because Brown's been able to adjust in game. I mean, in game adjustments. Players get injured. He plug and plays pretty good. But this year, the schedule goes against him a little bit. Last 3 games, I believe he has Clemson, SMU, and a rival Kent State, I believe.
Kentucky.
No, Kentucky. But yeah, he has that up at the end of the schedule, which could be tough. That could mean no playoffs, no ACC championship. So I think this is like a mid team. They have it at 8.5. They're right at about 8.5. They go bowling, but not too much out of that. What you think?
I mean, Tyler Show coming in and actually looking like a quarterback was very surprising to me. I thought he was going to be the guy that you were talking about, how Miller Moss might be this year. I thought that was going to happen last year, but it didn't happen. And I think it's kind of ironic. I mean, it is ironic that Miller Moss made his name in the Holiday Bowl playing who? Louisville. So he's now going to the place where he essentially made his name. I'm not really going to be too critical of what Moss did at USC, because Lincoln Riley really has been screwing over quarterbacks the last couple of years, in my opinion, and has not been the most pleasurable person to have to deal with for a quarterback. So I think Miller Moss comes in and continues what the Broms have been doing, because you also have the OC is Brian Brom. So you do have the Broms and their aerial offense, and it should continue to be an aerial offense, and it should still look very good. But there are 2 names that everybody should know when you're looking at Louisville. The first name is going to be Isaac Brown. Isaac Brown is one of the best running backs in the country. He is a Heisman contender in my eyes, and very well could be in New York at the end of the year and standing on the podium. He is that good. You also are bringing back Colin Lacey, who played only in 4 games last year, and then he decided to opt out, and everybody thought he was going to be transferring and leaving, but he ends up coming back. That's a huge, huge return, because Colin Lacey is one of the most talented players. He's not as talented as Ja'Cory Brooks was last year, but it's not a huge step down. The offensive line is going to be a problem. 4 of the 5 starting linemen have left, so there will be a new group of starters. But in the portal, they added 6 linemen, and they were all starters, so they have starting experience. It's a good offense. The defense is a bit of a question mark. The linebacker does return some significant production. They should have a solid pass rush, but the rush defense is going to be a bit of an issue. But it should be decent enough The secondary last year was supposed to be one of the best secondaries in the country, but fell well below that. I mean, we remember the game against Miami where Louisville was just giving a bomb after bomb after bomb. And there's less talent this year. So if you had a secondary that was supposed to be elite that ended up being just meh, what's the secondary going to look like when you have a group that more meh talent? That's a huge question. So I don't really know where this Louisville team is going to be. I think it's one of the more high fluctuation type projections you can look at, because could Louisville get into the ACC championship? 100%. Could Louisville be under 500 this year? 100%. So I don't really know where to place them, but I do think the offense has a lot of potential. It's just a matter of what's that secondary going to look like? Is that rush defense going to hold up against the better rush defense or the better rushing offenses? Because it's not a great rushing defense, but it should be better than last year, expected to give up about 120 yards a game.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll call these 50-50 teams. They have 50. You can argue for them going to the top, or you can argue for them not doing so well. But like I said, last year, they do bounce back. They lost to SMU, bounced back, beat Virginia. Lost to Miami, bounced back, beat Boston College and Clemson. So you got to respect the guy that's he's coaching and teaching on the go. It's not all, some coaches have everything in place from the beginning and they work their system all the way out. But some coaches can actually improve in areas that they started lacking in, week by week. But let's keep it moving to the other father and son duo right here, Bill Belichick and his son. A lot of people are 50-50 on this team as well. On one side, people say Belichick is just there for the namesake to set it up for his son. He brings in 70 new players. The offensive line was kind of bad, but that's what Bill Belichick can help in that department. Gio Lopez, they make him a premier transfer quality guy. I don't know. I can't say that he is, and I really can't say that he ain't. But on the high side, they say that the influence of Belichick and just the way that he functions as a coach and some of his practices may get some wins over here from North Carolina. But it's probably a team that I'm going to stay. I'm just going to watch these teams. I'm going to stay far away from it. If I can kind of teeter in on are they an over team or under team, I might take that angle when I got to watch them. But other than that, I'm staying far away from Bill Belichick and his son. What you think, Bruce?
I mean, Belichick is a great developer of talent. I mean, you remember how many drafts you remember them skipping on all these position guys just to grab the in the trench type player. So, and they would always have skill position guys. He always found guys in the draft. He was one of the best drafters of college talent, and now being in the college level, I am optimistic on North Carolina. I'm a little surprised that his girlfriend isn't on the coaching staff, given all the influence that she's had in his life recently. Especially if he's taking photos where he clearly needs a new bra. But anyways, that's besides the point. Let's get back to the football stuff. He's got some talent here. He did bring in quite a bit of talent on the O-line. He did lose an All-American guard and a full-time starter at left tackle. The line is probably going to be where this whole entire team is won or lost. The O-line has some question marks, but there are multiple players that have played at the P4 level. Can he get them to develop and be a functional line? I don't know. Gio Lopez being a mobile veteran quarterback is going to help, but I'm not 100% sure on that. On the D-line, 7 of the 8 linemen from last year are gone. They do add Vilbert from Penn State. They add CJ Mims from East Carolina, who's a full-time starter and was graded very, very well in run stopping, and added defensive tackle DeAndre Robinson from Florida, who also added size. So Belichick is literally building the exact type of team that he had at New England. If you remember those Vince Wilfork type defensive lines, he is building that. He is literally taking copy and paste and putting it into the college level. I don't think it is going to hit this year, but if you give him another year and if he sticks around and his girlfriend doesn't break his heart and leave him for, a 30-year-old man, then this team is something that you could look in next year after a down year and go, oh, Belichick is going to prove that he's not worthy of this. And that's when he's going to jump. I wouldn't be shocked if they did well this year, but I do think they're more likely than not going to be a 500 team, but I think they're going to be an ATS monster. I think if you get points with them, take the points, because he will keep these games competitive. He did with crappy New England team his last year, and he's going to do so with this North Carolina team this year. I think this is an ATS team that you can back and support.
Yeah, that's another thing. Another thing about it is, I didn't know, but Bill Belichick is deeply rooted in North Carolina, so he's back at home with his new girlfriend. How about that? But let's keep it rolling, man. We down towards the bottom of the pack, so I'm gonna kind of run through these because I'm kind of pressed for time today. Try to get everybody out of here expeditiously. But let's keep it rolling, man. Let's go into Pitt. Good old Pitt right here. It's pretty common in the ACC for some little tough schedules. Pitt has to see Notre Dame, Georgia Tech, and Miami at the end of their schedule. They have a QB Eli hosting. This guy's one of those guys that I talk about when you talk about health. You're only as good as you bounce back from your first injury. So this guy's bouncing back from injury, and he's looking a little shaky. The offensive line is not there to help. They look a little weak. This team could be a pure D upside down thing. But Narduzio, man, could this be his last year? I don't know. What you think about this Pitt team?
I like Pitt, man. I do. I like Pitt. I think they are underappreciated right now. And the big reason why, I mean, I get Eli Holstein does have the injury concerns, but he is healthy right now. And last year, he got hurt in spring ball, and he wasn't able to fully learn the offense. And Cade Bell, the offensive coordinator, actually came out about midway through the season, and he did an interview. I mean, offensive coordinators don't always, talk with the media, but about halfway through the season, he did an interview, and he talked about how Holstein was not able to progress down the route tree when push came to shove, because they run a very fast tempo offense. I mean, there's not a lot of time to think and try to analyze. It is literally like play, set, snap. I mean, it is boom, boom, boom. You have very little time to think. And Holstein started struggling with some of the different things that they were throwing at him. And one of the things he started really struggling with was he started struggling with zone defenses. And he did not know how to progress through his reads based off of how zones were being shifted along the secondary. That should be figured out this year. Desmond Reed returns, and he is one of the best running backs in the ACC. He returns. You also are bringing back some solid quality receivers, and I do think the offense is going to look very good. The defense also returns quite a bit of production, and the defense at home was phenomenal, but the defense on the road was abysmal. So can they figure out those home road splits? Narduzzi has kind of had that a little bit in his career. If you look back at his overall career, I can pull it up right here since I have the book. At home, he is 44-22. That's fantastic. But on the road, he is 25-28. So there is those home road splits. And unfortunately for him, he is going to be on the road this year. And that is going to be how well do they play when they are on the road? And I am not convinced of that, but I think at home, you are backing Pitt at home.
Yeah, if you go through the preparation of those college teams when they go on the road, I mean, it's so much detail and stuff that goes into it. What they eat, when they eat, how they eat, when they go to sleep, when they wake up, when they practice. It's crazy. But, yeah, sometimes the not playing well on the road contributes to that type of preparation. Not necessarily the team, because the team are very talented. But let's keep it moving. North Carolina State, Dave Doran, 13-year here. Last year he went 6-7. He returns 8 on offense, 7 on defense. But this year he switches it all up. Brings in new offensive coordinator, Kurt Roper, and also brings in new defensive coordinator, DJ Elliott. Now this time he's aiming for a more faster offense. And on defense, he's trying to implement a better pressure-based scheme. I hope it's not a blitz scheme, because a lot of these teams that end up getting too heavy with blitzes kind of step on their own feet when it comes to the game. Let's see. Sophomore quarterback CJ Bailey. I don't know. I got an upside to this North Carolina team. I think that they actually make it to a decent bowl game this year. What do you think about North Carolina State?
100%. CJ Bailey is a very big factor in how well does he play in his sophomore year. We've seen plenty of times a guy comes onto the scene freshman year, looks really good, looks like they're the quarterback of the future, and then 6 games later it's like, oh yeah, who was it? Who was that guy again? Whaley something. So he should be one of the guys that you kind of look at and be, is he going to have that secondary sophomore season that progresses him towards the quarterback of the future? Or is it going to be like, do you remember who that guy was? I forget who that guy was. A couple of guys that I want to shout out here are going to be Hollywood Smothers, who does return, and he led the running backs last year with 606 yards. He's also receiving. He's a receiving threat as well. He had 263 receiving yards, top 20 running back prospect. He's going to be a huge part of what the running game is going to do. You look at the receivers, 3 of the top 5 return. Tight end Justin Jolly was one of the best pass catching tight ends last year, and he returns. Noah Rogers returns as an elite wide receiver talent, but he hasn't really lived up to that talent, but he could be in for a huge year this year if Bailey, again, fulfills that expectation that he's going to take that second step forward. The big question is going to be the defense, man. I mean, that secondary lost virtually all the talent from last year. They do add some guys, but I mean, you're talking about adding guys from Temple, Georgia State. I mean, they're not necessarily bringing in the LSU, Alabama rejects. I mean, they're trying their best to go get the best of the worst. And I'm not sure exactly how that's going to work, especially when you're bringing in a new DC. DJ Elliott comes in. He used to be an NFL assistant. Before that, he was a DC at Temple, Kansas, Kentucky, Colorado. And he has not had very good defenses when he was a DC at Temple, Kansas, Kentucky, and Colorado. So that is going to be a huge question. I like the offense, but the defense is a huge question. One of the things I wrote down in my notes about North Carolina State is, do you blindly take the overs? I'm not there yet. I was looking at their team total over for week 1 against Coastal, but I couldn't pull the trigger on it. I want to see Bailey throw a little bit first.
I like it. I am definitely pressed for time today, so I got about 5 or 6 minutes to run through the rest of these teams. Is it any of the teams that we haven't talked about yet that you want to go over, Moose?
Virginia Tech for sure. Virginia Tech and Virginia, and I'm good.
Yeah, let's go through those two real quick, and I got to get out of here. Happy wife, happy life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hot out here in California too, y'all. So,
yeah,
we trying to get it done. I'm trying to be done with this, so when it does cool off, I could probably actually relax. But let's go. Virginia Tech Hokies. What I have over here. Last year 6-7. 4th year over here for the coach. Seat could be hot. I don't know. What do you think about that? Seat hot over here, or you think this is your dark horse right here?
Yeah, no, I think it's definitely hot. 16-21 overall in his 4 years, 100%. I mean, it is I even wrote in my notes, boss. I literally wrote the second thing or the third thing down is potential make or break season for Pry. 2 losing seasons and 1 winning. You can't argue for a guy that has 3 losing seasons and 1 winning season and is coming off of a losing season. So yeah, and he's 1-5 against top 25. 100% he is on the hot seat, especially after last year with all the hype and expectations that were going into the season. The reason I want to talk about this team is Kyron Drones. He's a top 30 quarterback prospect. He was very up and down last year. He threw for over 1,500 yards with a 60% completion percentage, and he rushed for 450 yards. But is he good? Is he good? Is he a good quarterback? I do not know if he is that good quarterback. He is overly talented and in the right spot. I mean, Miami last year was one of the best spots playing against his cousin Cam Ward. I think that this is a team that if you catch them on the right day against the right opponent, you are going to be making a ton of money because they will be disrespected this year after losing a lot of the talent last year, a lot of the hype from last year. But this is a team that will figure out how to run the ball because you have one of the better running quarterbacks behind center. And the offensive line did lose all of their starters from last year and is going to need to rebuild it. But they add West Virginia's O-line coach, Matt Moore, has been one of the best O-line developers in the country, and he brings with him 3 West Virginia linemen. If you're talking about an assistant coach, an O-line coach that you bring over and brings with him players, that is a great sign. So I think this Virginia Tech team is going to have a solid rushing attack and could be a dark horse in the ACC, but they're going to have to figure out that defense, man. That is going to be a huge question, and they did bring in some talent. So I like Virginia Tech here this year against the right opponent and in the right spot. And that first week against South Carolina, that might be a sneaky spot for Virginia Tech. I like the over there. I love the over there, but Virginia Tech kind of makes a little bit of a sense as a side. So Virginia Tech in sneaky spots. I really like them.
Makes a lot of sense, man. He's throwing everything in the kitchen sink after keeping his job, new coordinators and everything. And that's the only thing we've seen very successful with the portals is when these coaches and coordinators and stuff move and they bring some of the players with them. We seen back a few years ago with Utah State. And bring up a quarterback right there, implemented the system real fast, and they just did their thing. Same thing with what's his name, Caleb Williams at USC. You know, he came over with the coach, and it worked out well for him. Let's go into the next one though, because I am still getting pressed for time. Time presses all the goddamn time. But Virginia Cavaliers right here, Tony Elliott, year 4, returning 7 on offense, 8 on defense. That's my big boss, method right there. Last year there was 5 and 7. I definitely see a little bit of steps up for this team right here. I have them in my notes right here as a sleeper. They get a quarterback upgrade to Chandler Morris from North Texas. The offensive line is one of the team's biggest weakness, but you coach your way through those weaknesses, and sometimes you just do things different. You use the strong part of the line for the run plays and the weak part of the line for the screen. But I like this team right here. That major, man. 5 and 7 last year. I think they go bowling this year for sure with Virginia Cavaliers. What you got on Virginia?
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about Chandler Morris, man. That was the thing, dude. He comes over from North Texas, threw for 3,774 yards with a 63% completion percentage, was second team all AAC in previous year at TCU. He threw for almost 2,400 yards. So he's a legit quarterback. The issue is that they did lose Malachi Fields, and they also lost their top tight end, Tyler Neville. So that was kind of a bit of a letdown, but you see who they added. They added Cameron Ross from James Madison, who was a starter for them the last 2 years between James Madison and UConn. They also add Jaden Thomas from Notre Dame, who was a top 45 prospect, who did have 5 starts with 839 yards over his 5 years and is a veteran. He's going to be more of a depth piece, but I love the fact that you're bringing in a guy like that has that much veteran experience, and he's going to be depth. He's not going to just jump right into a starting role. He's going to be depth guy. The other thing is about the O-line. Dude, 182 combined career starts in the O-line. That's the second most in the country. All those things are looking really good. I want to see what Des Kitchings does in his 3rd season as OC. He's used multiple looks before, from the RPO to straight up vertical alignment. I do think that this is a offense that is week to week going to be putting up points. I got their week 1 team total over, and I think a team total over for them week to week is probably a solid look. I like Virginia. I love where you're talking about their sleeper. The defense is probably going to be really rough. It's going to be really bad. I'm not going to love taking him as a side, but in terms of overs and terms of team total overs, sign me up for Virginia.
Nice. Last one before we go, because they actually play tomorrow, and this is Stanford. They play Hawaii. I'm all over Hawaii. I mean, I digged in it, but not too deep. But it's just one of those things that I like what they doing here, and I don't like what they doing there. I think it's a total shit show with Andrew Luck firing Troy Taylor. You started seeing, Stanford ran the same system for a long time. When Troy Taylor came over, he switched it up, and you seen a little bit of it at a time that could have built on. But I thought it was going to be an awesome year for Troy Taylor to take a step up with Stanford. But Andrew Luck said, you got to go. I don't like what they got going on there. It's just a bad thing for the whole team overall. So I don't like what they got going on over there. And on the other side of things, Tommy Chan in Hawaii, he's getting the support of everybody. He's got a returning quarterback. He's just got a lot of things. And they got to come over there and play on the island. So you just got a lot of upsides to Hawaii. It's a short line between these two teams, the ACC, Pac-12 school, playing the Mountain West school. It's a short line for a reason, because Hawaii's going to kick that ass. What you think, Moose?
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there. I actually got money line plus 100 on Hawaii, because that was one of the first bets I made. As I was like, dude, this Stanford team does not look good. Dude, I mean, it's not even like Frank Reich was hired to be the coach of the future. He's literally an interim capacity. Like, he's not even there for the long haul.
Who does that? You hire an intern for a whole year when you have enough time to implement a real coach?
Why? just do it. I mean, I get that that's like your boy, like that's like your guy that you broke into the NFL with, and you want to like, hey, this guy, man. But it feels like, honestly, boss, you know what it feels like? It feels like a drunk guy trying to establish their NCAA team. Like, dude, this guy right here, this is the guy. Like, he's gonna turn the whole program around, man. And then we'll go get our coach. Like, we'll go get Dion like next year, man. Like, that'll be the great thing, man. I don't know what they're doing. Like, this Stanford team is awful top to bottom. The secondary is projected to allow 260 plus yards through the air. You know what Hawaii is going to do really, really well this year? They're going to pass really, really well. And you're going to have one of the worst secondaries in the country going up against one of the more underappreciated passing offenses. Yeah, sign me up for Hawaii all day, Monday through Friday. I am not on. I'm not a big
win or
guy.
lose. I'll bet it the same way again because
I would bet it 100. Yeah, 100 out of 100. I mean, the only thing that does worry me about Stanford is they might be into like FAFO mode where they just kind of mess around and see what happens and might get luck into some, no pun intended, into some wins. That's the only thing that worries me is that Stanford might just kind of mess around, have fun, say, screw it. We don't really care this year. Let's just go out and run trick plays every single play, run gadgets every single play. That's the only thing that worries me because other than that, this is a really bad Stanford football team on paper and very likely on the field.
Yeah, very, very, very likely on the field. Well, that's it, man. I got to cut it short. We did have a good time, and we got through a lot, though. We got through all the good stuff, so that was very helpful. It's great having you anytime, Moose. You guys' show is going to come on at what time? You guys starting tomorrow or first week?
Yeah, no, we're starting tomorrow. We're going to be on the normal time, 7 o'clock on the West Coast. What would that be? 10 o'clock on the East Coast. I'll be there from start to finish, and we'll have Wine Time coming through. Guns Picks is coming through. Kong's coming through. Everybody, Boss, obviously. I know you got your own show, you and Ragu, but you guys are always more than welcome. Come through, give a pick or a play and skedaddle out of there. But yeah, we're looking for a really, really good season. I did put my Moose Drive into the chat. If you guys are following along, watching this later, and you want to kind of see all the work that I've put in here, I am finishing up. This is the first place I'm announcing it, boss. I am finishing up. And I have only 1.5 more teams before I have capped every single college football team at the FBS level.
Nice, man. The world, the earth, the energy, and everything definitely appreciate your earth. Your efforts. If these scumbags don't, because that's just amazing. And we're in like a new era of sports betting to where we're just people like my man Moose that's out there giving honest information, not trying to jingle your pockets. But
yeah,
appreciate that, man. That's wonderful, man. Tomorrow. I don't think we're doing Boston the Sauce tomorrow. I might have to pull up and hang out with y'all, but I will. I'm going to be going live for the first game. I'll probably just cut the camera on and just be normal me and just go live because my man Big Ragu, I think he's out in Saratoga betting the ponies right now. You should have seen him. He had his suit on with his Florida shirt and all that good stuff. Looking out there, looking good with my man NC33. So shout out to them. I see you in the morning. I'm going to slide over there and hang out with y'all, whether it's on screen or in the chat. I'll be over there with y'all. But that's what's up, man. Y'all have a good night. Stay tuned for some more. The season's getting ready to start. Oh, yeah. And we are the Boston the Sauce Show is signed up in the Westgate first ever NCAA football contest. So be looking out for our 7 hot biscuits and gravy picks each week for the contest. So get at us. We out.
The Boston the Sauce Show.
Boston the Sauce Show.
Boston the Sauce Show.
Boston the Sauce Show. Here we go.